has been accused of gross negligence and attempts to bribe witnesses in the Lily mine inquest. In a statement, affected families claim that Vantage management are accusing their own employees of illegal mining. Previously, all their employees have worked in an unsafe mining environment where management continued to ignore expert warning, putting hundreds of lives at risk. These three people remain trapped in a container when the mine collapsed in 2016. We are now joined by Lily Mine family spokesperson, Mazibuko. But Mazibuko, good evening and thank you very much for your time. What do you make of the testimonies you've heard so far coming from the inquest? I mean, the one that, for example, comes from Dean Martin Ackerman around the mine captain being aware of the activity that they were doing of mining under the crown pillar. What do you make of that testimony? Is that more closer to the truth? All right, we seem to have lost Mazibuko there. We'll try and get him back on the line. So Dean Martin Ackerman giving testimony at the inquest saying, I would like to state that the mine captain was aware of the activity. I got instruction and didn't ask questions. I did what I was told to do. Mine captain gave us the orders. We've got Harry now back with us on the line. Harry, the question I was asking, what do you make of the testimony of Dean Martin Ackerman, who gave testimony that they were instructed by the mine captain to drill under the crown pillar?
Yes, indeed, it's his testimony of which the management, they are denying it. They say, no, Ackerman is mad. So in that inquest, you see, it's a mixture of truth and lies, because we cannot find ourselves in a situation when we are talking about Lily Mine on different perspectives, of which the other witnesses are telling the truth, the other witnesses are lying.
Now, that of course has been now challenged by the company, who are saying, well, there is really no proof of negligence. They're saying they did everything possible to ensure that there was safety of the mine workers. You're disputing that statement?
Yes, when we talk sense and logic, is that prior to the accident, when the mine, because remember the mine was an open cast mining, so they decided, because there's so much gold underground, they have to go underground. So they follow the procedures of which we must bring in the experts in a form of rock engineer. So Dr. Rudy Kirsten was brought in, and he said to the mine management, it's on record, that communication, that you can use that interest not over the period of 2 years, because it's going to fall at the end of the days. Those are the reports from the experts, and were presented before the court. So they've used over 6 years. So at last, finally, it collapsed. So that's the thing. The mine collapsed due to negligence of the mine management. So they're prioritizing profit rather than safety of everybody in the mine.
Yeah, the lawyers for the mine are saying that they're going to present 3 witnesses who will confirm that the mining that was undertaken there took place according to plan. What do you make of those witnesses?
You see, there's a gap between the employees, the general labor, and the mine management, of which the management, they are protecting themselves, and they are lying before South Africa, they are lying before the court of law, but it's for the magistrates and the team to determine who's telling the truth, because as more people are brought in, you see, even some other witnesses who are due to testify in the near future, they've been called by the very same management not to say what. So they've got a lot to hide, but I know at the end the truth will prevail in the justice, because we are there, and we are most fortunate because we are presented by Mr. Spoor, who's got a background. We were with him even in the inquiry on 2017. So they're standing no chance to tell the lies, because we are going to defend ourselves under the wings of Mr. Spoor.
What did you think when you heard the testimony of Mr. X saying that there are possibly 3 illegal miners who are also trapped underneath the ground who were operating at the time, and also testifying that one of the 3 inside there, Solomon Nyarenda, was actually working with the illegal miners?
on my capacity as a former employee working at the very same mine, the testimony of Mr. X, I believe my position is that Mr. X has been bought, has been paid. Even the prosecutor asked that question, that Mr. X, have you been paid to come and testify? He said no, and he said, why are you bringing all of this? Because if we talk sense and logic, Mr. X's testimony said that Solomon, who was in charge of the lamp room, he was offering the illegal miners cat lamps that belongs to our fellow colleagues or employees who are on leave. And if you check the statistics, we cannot have a situation whereby we have 10 people on leave. And again, Solomon was doing a morning shift, 2 o'clock he knocks off, and he said they were doing this operation during night time. So which means Solomon, he goes back home, come to a mine where there's security access and access the lamp room and take the property of the mine and give it to illegal miners. And again, while giving them those cat lamps, they cannot last even 2 days. So how they were charging them? So you see, me personally, I believe he's telling lies. This thing is fabricated. They are trying by all means to defend the lies and the humiliation that the Vantage management has caused to us as employees and the family.
Yeah. As far as you know and as far as you are aware, is there any illegal mining, particularly the gold that has been sold to Mozambican mafias?
I don't know. That is from Mr. X's testimony, but even one manager in his testimony mentioned that it's impossible what Mr. X has presented, but not responding to Mr. X's testimony. Just the magistrate and the team were asking questions based on Mr. X's testimony. He denied that there's no possibility that we can have 600 to 1,000 illegal miners operating in the very same mine where we were working. So at what time and in which space? Because the mine is working day and night, 3 shifts. So some of the people or witnesses, they are telling the lies, and mostly are the management, including the chief safety officer, by telling the court that we had an open door policy in terms of safety, of which is inappropriate because I was working under the very same department, but there were no meetings that he had presented. There was no proper culture when it comes to safety.
Now, Mazibuko, you've made a claim that these witnesses are possibly bribed. I mean, what are you going to do to prove that or to make, at least put that version to the inquest?
Yes, I believe that because why? How? It doesn't make sense that because I know everything about this mine. I was working at this mine up until it collapsed. So what has been presented, it's irrelevant. So it shows clearly writing is on the wall. And remember, where we're camping as today, we mark 934 days camping outside the mine after being removed by the very same management and the business rescue practitioners. So people have been bold to come and attack us there where we're camping by the very same people. So it's their culture, it's in their blood to do whatever corruption just to delay any process that is going to see us through to have the closure that we've been anticipating for.
Now, you were, of course, at some point attempting your own rescue operation. Are you still continuing with that, or have you stopped that operation?
It's very unfortunate because in that regard, it is us versus our own government, because we're progressing. Because remember, on our last day in our operation, we find a fence of which we believe that is the fence was fencing the transformers closer to the container. So we had hope. Unfortunately, the MRE came and stopped us and promised us that they are going to strategize as to how they are going to assist us to continue with our operation in a safety manner till to date. But as law-abiding citizens and against the very same management who doesn't want us inside the mine, so we have to listen to that, and due to advice from our lawyers who we've been assisted with by Mr. Herman Mashaba. So we have to stop. Unfortunately, maybe now we should have been telling a total different story.
Harry Mazibuko, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us, speaking on behalf of the Lily Mine families there. Harry Mazibuko.